Welcome back, everyone. Draskyl here, doing some YouTube commentary. I know it's been a while, been on a bit of a hiatus as far as creating content goes. We've been waiting for the new patch, and actually I think it's been like a couple of patches since the last time I made a video. Currently we're in 7.21D, I believe. So today we had a couple of people in chat talking about what kind of videos they'd want to see, and the idea came up of when do you want to farm the jungle and when do you want to push the lanes? Essentially asking, how do I know where to be, what I want to be killing at any point in time in regards to creeps, and how do I effectively utilize the space? So, today we're going to be using the VP versus Vici Grand Finals. This is from Dream League Season 11. This is, I believe, Game 2 or Game 3, I can't remember which. But in this game, we're going to be looking at the player perspective of Ramzes playing on the Anti-Mage. Now you'll notice we started the game at about 11 minutes in, and the reason why I don't want to go to the beginning is because his lane, for those of you who didn't watch the game, a TLDR, he had a tri-lane at the start. It was a very easy lane. He was against the Darkseer pretty much solo for a while. So there's not really much to take away from an AM just free farming a lane. If you want to watch a video like that, I'm sure there's another one out there. This one's going to be more focused on where he's going, why he's going there, how he's utilizing his vision, and just talking about like the moves that he makes in the game that make him obviously one of the best carry players in the world, and also just like, you know, pushing his limits as best he can. So we're going to start off, and you can see up here that Vici has rotated, and they've sent the Weaver top, and at the moment, Ramzes went for a very greedy build, so he's got the double Wraith, he's got the Ring of Health, and a lot of people at this point would already be considering, you know, do I want to go back to base? I'm sitting at like, you know, a third HP. It's not really the safest for me to be out right now, but if you look at Vici's lineup, they don't have any stuns. Like, they have Oracle with the Fortune's End, which is very, very easy to spell reflect, by the way. And that's about it. So the first thing that we're going to take note of in this game is that Ramzes basically doesn't ever go home unless he's forced to go home. Like, someone physically coming to the lane and being like, yo, you gotta go back because I'm gonna kill you if you don't. And this is one of the benefits of being an anti-mage and a later pick, is sometimes you're just gonna get a game that you can, you know, freely farm, right? You're gonna get a game where it's a lot easier to pressure. So he's gonna walk bottom for the 12-minute rune. He's gonna pick up an illusion. And this just looks like a freebie set up by his team. We can see that we have pretty good vision on our side of the map. VP's wards are mostly defensive at this point. They have 4 down, 3 of which are on the river, and 1 which is on the high ground right by the tier 2 in the mid lane. So he's got a lot of defensive vision, but you'll notice that he's not occupying his own safe lane. It's 12 minutes in. We've already seen a rotation from Paparazzi to go top. They've taken the tier 1, and because of his inventory, he doesn't want to try to contest. Now this is pretty much what I would call a naked battle fury, which means he doesn't have treads, he doesn't have a Yasha, he didn't go for any early fighting items, he just went, boom, straight Battle Fury, right? And in the meantime, he did send his illusions to clear out the camp. He doesn't block on the 13-minute mark, so he gets his respawn on a large camp. That means in the time that he picked up the illusion rune, he sent his illusion to kill a camp, was assisting in a kill, and then killed that camp again after the minute mark rolled out. He chooses not to continue to push bot because, again, most of his wards are defensive. So if we just pause for like a second, and we take a look around, we can see, let's look at Dire's vision. I might have to unpause here to see. Okay. So this is Dire vision right now. So even though the words are red, they are Dire words. So he came down here for about a wave, and the only reason he farmed this wave is because he was right here helping to get a kill, right? So he picks up the illusion rune, he goes down, he gets the kill, his illusions are immediately sent up here, and I'm pretty sure he even clicked on the minimap to do that, so he probably A-clicked the large camp to make sure that they were going to be attacking that. He gets this wave, he kills this camp 2 times, and this happens in the span of about 45 seconds to a minute. So he's killing a camp in time for it to respawn, killing that camp a second time, and getting a wave. People who always wonder, you know, how do these players get such crazy CS in a short amount of time? It's more or less efficiency, right? You're never missing a stack. You're always trying to hit a creep. You're always like in a position where you can find farm. And obviously in a competitive environment, it's going to be a bit different because they're trying to enable Ramzes, right? In a pub, it might not be as easy to find the farm as it would be for Ramzes in this game. But the ideas that we're talking about are applicable in pubs regardless. So let's go ahead and go back to player perspective. And he's just back to farming the woods. He's not really playing super aggro right now. And I'm okay with this. I'm okay with him not just like creep cutting at 13 minutes in. Because again, the guy doesn't have boots. He knows that if he gets to critical mass in this game, he gets his Manta, he gets treads, you know, maybe plus one other item. He's going to be nigh unkillable. And this is something that you're going to learn with experience the more you play, whether you're a newer player or even intermediate, is that sometimes it's okay to be a little bit more passive with your farming until you get to a point where you know you're safe. And Ramzes knows in this game, hey, if I get big, this is a freebie. I don't have to take any unnecessary risks right now. And you'll notice a couple of seconds ago, he peeked towards the bot lane. He saw a bunch of heroes ganking his Shadow Demon, and he's still not really pushing the tier 1. Because that gank happens, and he says, wait a minute, there's a good chance that VP have teleports right now, and if I'm pushing this tier 1, there's a good chance that they TP react, and I'm putting myself in danger. So what does he do? His jungle's dead, the large camp and the small camp have already been farmed, and he knows that VP were pushing bottom, so he goes to their side of the map. He goes to their jungle. Now, does he know that there's no wards here? Unsure. But I can tell you that this is actually a pretty hard position for VP to collapse on him, because they can TP to Shrine and TP to the tier 1, but all it takes is one blink into the river, and most of VP's heroes can't really catch him. And as we've talked about already, nice little blink there to stack the camp again. 15-minute mark. He makes sure that the camp respawns. He's never having even a second of wasted time. Anytime he's moving around the map, he's looking for a creep, or he's looking for a lane to farm. And for now, he's just going to go, he's going to cut the wave. This is a really nice timing. We'll go ahead and pause right now. If you guys don't already know this, creeps spawn every 30 seconds. I'm sure most players know that, but you might be really new watching this video, so we're just trying to give you some basic ideas. Anti-Mage has a built-in blink. Any hero that has high mobility and can clear waves quickly, as in kill them and get out, is always going to be really good at what they call wave cutting. And wave cutting is basically just the act of killing the creeps before they're able to meet up with someone who is like pushing an objective. So obviously this is an arc ward and illusion. It's not actually the hero. But he goes in for the creep cut because he sees his team pressuring top. They have a deep ward play, so he can see Shrine TPs. And this is still a pretty difficult hero to take down for VP. They have to get a perfect roll and initiation into a follow-up without him being able to cast Counterspell a single time. Also important to note his skill build. This is pretty standard as far as AM goes, but a 3-second cooldown on Counterspell in a game like this, where your biggest threat besides rolling Boulder into a grip is just a Fortune's End route, like having a 3-second cooldown Counterspell means it's really, really hard for him to die. So, he cuts the wave. He understands at this point, you know, he's got his boots, he's got his magic wand and stuff, his double wraith, his battle fury. It's only 15 minutes in, and he's still, you know, highest net worth. And this is taking into account that VP currently have a 3,000 gold lead. So he's making very, very good use of his time right now. You see him pop the counter spell here. And even though they commit so many heroes, he just blinks it off. And again, at this point, people see 4 heroes and they say, oh man, I'm going to get back. But Ramzes is like, it's 1534. Their mid-wave just spawned. They just dropped wall, they used a bunch of spells to try to kill me. If something else is happening on the map or one of my heroes is getting chased, and right now, if we take a look, Solo is currently being ran down by the Weaver. So this guy is getting ran at, and Ramzes says, this is an opportune time for me to get even more creeps. So he's chilling here. And this is really cool, by the way, the play that he does here, because it's nighttime. So him standing here, they can't see him, right, until the creeps get vision. So because he was standing there until the creeps were walking up, VP had no idea where he was. As soon as he blinked up to the high ground, they essentially stopped the chase, assuming, you know, hey, he's gone, we can't get this kill anymore. And because he knows that they're probably not going to recommit, and he's got the regen from his Battle Fury, and he's still got 10 stick charges, they dropped a wall already, he says, I'm going to cut this wave. Because how are they going to kill me, you know? Now VP, they actually use a glyph to stop him from doing this, right? They pop a glyph, which is a pretty lengthy cooldown, just to stop him from killing one creep wave. Now that is value, if you ask me. Getting someone to pop the glyph like that. Actually, let's double check to make sure that wasn't for the tier 1 top. Okay, the tower died and then they glyphed afterwards, so it wasn't for the tier 1. So again, very good stuff. Now when he gets the glyph to go off, he TPs immediately because nothing else is happening, right? When he TP'd, the rest of the heroes on the map were either missing or they were going to start collapsing on him again. So he doesn't want to spend any extra time in that position that he absolutely has to. So now he's made his way to bot, he's TP'd. We're going to go to free camera again, we're going to take a look and we're going to say, okay, so Paparazzi and Ori are both pushing mid. And other than that, we got like one ward that sees the top shrine, but we're playing, you know, with not a whole lot to work with other than the fact that we can assume that maybe there's a couple of heroes sitting behind Vichi's course, right? So even in this situation, he says, hey, I got treads. I still got a pretty good amount of survivability. I'm always pressuring. This guy has not gone back to base a single time. I think he had died one time up until this point. Yeah, he's 1-1. So he's got one death. He kills the wave. And notice he doesn't stay. He does not stay to hit this tower. This tower is just getting hit by creeps. He recognizes his tower is going to be dying soon because a lot of people are sitting here. A lot of damage being dealt by the Weaver and the Arc Warden. He wants to kill the wave to get the gold, which is his primary objective. And it's really easy to get caught up in the whole, I want to hit my tower, because hitting the tower means that we get the tower, that's good for my team. And in a lot of cases, that's true. But in this case, all Ramzes really cares about is being as efficient as possible. And I know I've said it multiple times, but it's really important to get into the mentality of this guy's game becomes almost free if he just gets to like 3 or 4 items faster than anyone else on the side of Vici. So rather than go for the play that's going to put him at risk, he goes for the play that is making him least likely to die. And the cool thing about this is that he can actually cut mid if he wants to. Or he can TP back if he notices a fight's kicking off. Now his TP is actually on cooldown right now. And I guess he just didn't see that DD. But he's trying to put himself in a position where he can pressure. Like right now, he's just going to come up here, he's going to hit Paparazzi a few times. And he's just already back in a creep wave. Now, to be honest, he probably could have stayed bottom a little bit longer, but his teammates might have been telling him, hey, you might need to come back, right? Because they just killed a tier 2, they might have been threatening a tier 3, they weren't entirely sure if they could hold without him, so they let him know. And he starts running back because his TP is on cooldown. If you're ever in a situation where you TP, and it's not up for a very important defense, usually for really heavy farming safe lanes, this is normally going to be your tier 3 push. Defending tier 2s in pubs is like, it's really tough. You don't typically want to defend tier 2s with heroes like Anti-Mage unless you really have a ton of items. So, he TPs to farm, which in this situation is fine. And then he walks back because he doesn't really have a choice or he feels like he's absolutely necessary to the fight. So he checks a large camp, it's not there, it'll be spawning in a couple of seconds, he's going to get the wave first, and as soon as the wave is dead, he's going to go back. Or he's going to, at least in this situation, he could go back to farm the jungle. But, actually, let's talk about this move. Let's talk about the fact that he didn't go back to that camp. Let's think about why. Because a lot of people, including myself, I might have blinked to that large camp. But let's think about why he didn't, right? That push from Vici has been over for a while, probably about a minute. And all he can see right now is Arc Warden. And we don't even know, yeah, okay, so that is the real Arc Warden. He's got bots, he's got a TP up right now. So it's actually plausible that in the downtime, if he had blinked to that large camp, Vici could have anticipated him being there because he showed in the lane previously when he killed the wave before, right? So if he shows on that wave and then he blinks to the what I would call the obvious farm, which is just this camp right here, if Vici had been setting up for that, they could maybe have killed him. So because he took the safe route, which he's been doing pretty much the entire game, and he just hid in trees instead, this is a much harder spot to die in. This is like, you have to be, 5th dimension level gank in order to catch someone who blinks down here. Because most of the time you're going to assume that they're just going to go for the efficient farm. They're going to get that. They might go back. They might linger a little bit. And this is an idea that I've talked about in some of my other videos in the past. When you're playing a hero that has the ability to farm aggressively, giving up your position on the map is like the worst possible thing you can do unless you've already forced a reaction. So because he's putting himself in a situation where he can't really be seen by Vici, and he's not giving up his position on the map, he's still being efficient. Because if he TP's home right now, and he tries to just, farm out their own jungle, he's taking farm away from Solo, he's taking farm away from Pasha, he's potentially taking farm away from Roger as well as no one. So if he goes back to his side of the map, he's getting his own farm, which is good, but he's detracting away from everyone else on his team. And if you look at the net worth, everyone's not doing so hot right now. Like, the cores of Vici are looking pretty good, and the rest of his team is not in the same situation. So, he stays down here in order to secure his own farm, but also to not take away from his own teams. And as soon as he has information, he sees that roll in from the Earth Spirit. The second he sees that, he just goes back in, right? Now, he's walking a little bit towards mid, like he wants to try to do something. But again, he's not showing in the lane. He knows that creeps are hitting the tower. He's going to go for a cut here because he sees Vici very aggressively chasing. This is such a good move from Ramzes, by the way. This move right here, this is the hallmark of a truly good core player. This is the stuff that you do that will absolutely save your games, not just in competitive, but in pubs. The reason why he's able to do this is because he notices like 15 to 20 seconds in advance, hey, my core Razor is dying. And if they go up to my high ground right now with creeps, there's a good chance that they'll be able to either get to tier 3 or maybe even racks, So he says, hey, I'm going to kill this wave. By killing this wave, the next nearest wave to where the base is top, and that's just a tier 2. Which means that they won't be able to hit the tier 3 as long as the other wave is dead. So all VP have to do at this point, let's actually double check to see if there are creeps. Okay, so there's not a single Radiant creep up here. Which means when this wave is dead, they can't siege. Even if they kill, Pasha right now, which looks like he is going to be dying here. And even if they killed Solo as well, this is just going to be backdoored. So the reason why this play, in a nutshell, is so good is because Ramzes knows, I don't have Manta, I'm not looking to fight. If I don't have Manta, I don't want to walk into an engagement, run the risk of getting hit by an Earth Spirit combo and not being able to Manta off the silence. I die, game's over. Right? This is a high-pressure situation for an Anti-Mage because almost everything in the game is riding on this guy right now. And he makes the conscious decision well in advance, hey, I'm killing the one wave, I'm going to make my way towards mid, I'm going to farm 2 camps in the meantime, and I'm going to have my blink up perfectly in time to be able to stop this wave from getting to the base that could result in us getting raxed. People say, like, how do you know what core player is the best core player or whatever? How do you recognize it? This shit right here, this is how you recognize it. Alright, so, let's go back to player perspective. He gets that wave. Now his TP is up, which means if I'm going to kill this wave, my next place that I potentially want to go is going to be looking at top. And the reason we go top is essentially the same reasons as before. Vici, again, going to be forced to use their glyph here just to keep their wave alive. This is how important this creep wave is to Vici. If this wave dies, again, they can't hit the tier 3. They can't do anything with these kills, and it's all because of this guy right here. So the entire wave's dead. He gets the blink away. Now he probably realizes he's being chased right now. But he's just going to make his way towards top. Now there's a wave probably about right here. Right behind the tier 2 in the top lane. But he is still, I think, getting ran at by at least the Weaver. Maybe the Weaver stopped chasing by now. Alright, so, again, the second he feels like he's not being chased, we talked about that wave being behind the tier 2, he knows it's there. So he kills this wave as well. Now if you look at the map, wait a minute, Vici just killed 2 heroes right outside of our base, and not a single one of their waves is past the river. That's like some Chris Angel shit, that's like a boom. This guy's just really good at the game, right? He's doing all the right stuff. So this large camp is going to be dead. We'll see where he goes next. Looks like his next choice is going to be going towards mid. He's going to make sure that he gets his ancient camp. So it's 1935 when he starts killing the camp. He knows that there's a good chance that it's going to be spawning again. He finds the courier. Looks like it flew past mid, gets a freebie. So now the wave's going to be spawning in 10 seconds. And from the looks of things, he might be going bot. Blinks in. He's going to find an Oracle. Not really the scariest hero. He recognizes the color of that TP, and he just says, yeah, I don't really care about you. You're an Oracle. Makes his way towards his team. He's still got that counter spell. Not going to farm the camp. A little bit too greedy. His Manta's on the courier, though. So he's going to get his Manta. Does he aggro blink here? Alright, so they get the Darkseer low. Darkseer's going to go down. As soon as he has the Manta, the rest of his team is ready to back him up, which is huge. And this is the type of fight that happens because of the plays that he made before. Gets a nice little Mana Void there onto Ori. Going to be another kill. And at this point, AM is just like, he's popping off, right? His net worth is just enormous. And as soon as that thing dies, he knows that his team is here, right? Again, he's playing in a way that is not really that selfless. You'd normally think that an Anti-Mage would just like, you know, blink towards bottom, push that wave. But Ramzes is like, nah, I'm going to go towards mid. Pasha, you can have the next 2 waves. I'm going to take the farm that's further away. My mobility is better than yours. Let me just take these creeps instead. And I'll get the waves out faster, you know? But that fight that we just witnessed bottom doesn't happen at all if he hadn't pushed the waves and cut mid twice, right? That fight just never happens. And that's something that I think a lot of Dota players don't think about, is when fights happen because waves are in certain positions and how those positions matter in regards to how the fight actually breaks out. So like a bunch of heroes are always TPing to their shrine, right? Like he's got Manta style. He's going to hold on to it right now. Even if he gets silenced here, it's going to have to be really quick. So he Mantas, he runs. He doesn't have time to hit the bug. He might actually die here. It's pretty low. We'll see what happens. Alright, looks like he's going to be fine again. But just the amount of space that he's creating by having all these heroes just consistently following him around the map, it leaves Pasha able to do basically whatever he wants in the bot lane. And VP are going to be threatening for the Roche right now. And he makes an audible on his item choice. He says, you know what, Scotty might be a little bit too greedy. Maybe I just want the BKB so I can be more present in the fights. So Vici get Roche. This is a big power spike for them. They know that at this point... Oh, he's bringing the BKB to no one. Excuse me, that wasn't his BKB. He is still going Scotty. And Scotty is still fine. They take Roche on the side of Vici. They're walking down mid. They lose the Doom. This is the point where Ramzes is thinking about, okay, when's the next wave going to be there? The wave is pretty much right on where Vici are standing right now, or close to it. Which means if he blinks mid at this point, he's probably just going to die. So he has to wait a little bit. Yeah, you can see where orange is and where the creep wave is. That just means that he can't kill that wave. And he knows that he can't really go too far away from base right now, even with the TP. He wants to get the wave behind where Vici are standing right now. So what he's going to do is he's going to blink mid, and he's going to run down, assuming that, you know, Vici aren't in a position to stop it. Oh, no, actually, he just wants the Oracle. Maybe not. It's like he's threatening right now, right? He's standing behind them. He knows he can get the next wave if he wants to, but he can also blink in. So this is a situation where he's putting Vici in a really awkward spot. Like a Shadow Demon's coming in from the top left, and then he has his Shadow Shaman in the base. Doom has buyback. And this is like a Manta buyback Anti-Mage on a tier 3 push. So like his positioning, if this wave dies and he decides he wants to run down and kill this wave, again, backdoor's going to kick in. So it puts Vici in a really awkward spot. It's like, are we really fully committing to this fight? You know, what do we do if they have a bunch of buybacks? We only have a 2k lead right now as Vici Gaming. So just his positioning right here is putting Vici in such a weird situation. We'll see how it plays out. So the wave should be here in a second. Yep, there it is. So this wave is dead. That means if the creeps are dead that are hitting the tower, backdoor is going to kick in. And now look, Vici are just, again, they're like, what the heck are we supposed to do? you know? And you could obviously put a lot of this just on the fact that the AM pick was really, really good. Don't get me wrong, this is a great AM game. But what we're trying to talk about is what Ramzes is doing in the game is winning them the game. It's not just about how quickly you're going to get your items. It's about what you're doing when you have those items, where you are on the map, how you're keeping the lanes pushed, and just forcing the enemy team into really weird situations. So he gets that wave, and he's still lingering, man. He's like, you know what? If they're going to run away, they just lost a core, okay? I can't even explain to you how much Ramzes just did by just blinking in and killing one wave. Their Arc Warden just dipped, okay? They took Roshan as Vici, which usually means that the team has a chance to go high ground. He kills the wave. His team kills the other wave that's hitting the tower. There's no creeps left. Even though the tier 3 dies, Vici are basically on, like... This is, like, really bad. Red alert. Their Arc Warden left. He knows their positioning is bad. And Ramzes has basically forced them into this position. So we notice the ensuing fight. We lose a couple of heroes. Paparazzi gets doomed after the fact. This is the Aegis carrier. So their Aegis push has just been completely demolished. And you can tell that Vici are feeling the pressure because they keep trying to walk to the high ground because they know, hey, if this game stretches on a little bit longer and Ramzes gets to his next item, which in this case will be the Scotty, how do we kill this guy? You know, what are we going to do to Ramzes that's going to make him scared of us? And the more items he gets, the more ballsy he can be with his farm. And you don't necessarily have to be Anti-Mage to do this kind of stuff either, by the way. There are other heroes that can do this, not as quickly, obviously, but anything that buys a Battle Fury, it's going to be a bit more difficult to get in the positions at the right times. But if you know the creep wave timings and where they're going to be based on, like... Okay, so if at 24-0 they spawn, then you know that around 24-15, they're going to be roughly halfway across the map, stuff like that. Understanding those creep timings and being able to just get in, kill the wave, get out, when you know that your team is far behind, is super, super important for core players. And it's why so often, obviously some of you guys might watch a stream that I do, is you get, frustrated with core players who don't farm aggressively. Because you could be in a situation like this where you're in an AM game and it's almost free and you could just go anywhere you want and it's really hard for the enemy team to gank you. I want 2 big points taken away from this video. 1, Ramzes has gone back to base a total of 1 time in 24 minutes. Sorry, 25 minutes. He's gone back to base once, okay? And then, besides that, he's spent very, very little time on this side of the map. And maybe he went back to base 2 times, but the point is, he spends a lot of time out on the map, he spends a lot of time on the opponent's side of the map, and he doesn't really ever try to farm out his own jungle unless he has nowhere else to go. And I would even say that his vision has been okay, but it's not been, like, amazing, right? This is 2 tier 1 teams playing against each other. You can't assume that you're always going to have amazing vision all the time. And even that being said, he's still always going for the creep cut, always going for the aggressive play, waiting around, gauging the situation at hand before he decides that he wants to TP or he wants to blink away. Now he's going to blink away from his team here and he's going to TP. And the reason that he wants to be mid right now is because he's the strongest hero on the team. Like, let's think about this for a second. Let's think about this TP and talk about it a little bit, because this is a TP where you say, well, his whole team was there. Why did he just bail? Right? Why did he just leave? There are a couple of things about not having a tier 3 that kind of, it's bad if you just let, your range racks or whatever take chip damage. So he says, who's the least likely hero on my team that's going to die if, for whatever reason, Vici were, like, smoked mid? It's Anti-Mage, right? He's got the 4 points in the spell shield. He's got his Scotty now. He's got Manta. If he TPs, killing him is tough. Very tough. Huge commitment from Vici in order to kill him. That means that with 1 shrine bottom being active and a tier 2 top and bottom and a bunch of buildings in his base, pretty good chance that they're going to be able to react, right? So he TPs, he's the fastest pushing hero, there's a tier 1 in the mid lane. Worst case scenario, his team connects with him in mid, and they just push the tier 1, right? And no other hero on the side of VP is going to push the wave as fast as he does. So if you're caring about how quickly you can get to one point on the map, having the hero that is the strongest and also the best at killing creeps be the first one there to get the wave out is usually a good idea. So he's going to go look for either a rune or farm a camp. Looks like he spots the Invis with the rune. He's going to pick it up. He can basically solo kill anyone that's not the Weaver at this point, even without a Basher, because the Scotty slow will do enough. And you can tell that he's feeling pretty confident, you know, even with an Invis, you got to be a little bit tentative because there could be sentries, but he's feeling good. He lets the Razor sit in the mid lane. And Raze is another one of those tanky heroes, so if they do jump on him, they'll be able to push in bottom, or they'll be able to just connect with the Razor and maybe take a fight. But the rest of his team is now positioning around him because they recognize, okay, this guy is big, you know, he's thick. We're talking like 4 Cs here. They're even going to threaten the high ground. This is a really nice play. Okay, another important thing about this game. When you're in a situation like this, which will happen, you know, you'll be sitting bottom. There will be no tier 2. You got a tier 2 top, you got a tier 2 bottom. Your mid is exposed, but you got your whole gang behind you, and you're hitting a tier 3. The reason why he's hitting this tier 3 is because he wants Vici to come home. He wants Vici to recognize, we're not going to be able to deal any real structural damage to VP's base in the time that Ramzes is going to be able to take a set of racks. So he just hits the buildings. The thing that he wants to have happen is everyone comes home, and then they either decide they want to fight or they bail. Whichever. Either choice is fine, but this is the kind of move that you make when you're ahead and you know that you can just force the enemy team to your whim. He's been doing this all game. Sometimes he's been doing it with creep cuts. Sometimes he's just like passively lane pressuring and stuff and being efficient with his farm. This time, he's just hitting a tier 3 and knocking on Vici's door and saying, hey, if you don't come home, this shit's going to go badly for you, right? So let's see how Vici respond. They're even going to drop the wards here. And this is just another awkward situation for Vici. They're like, we got the bubble and everything for the wards, which is great. Gonna see, once again, nice use of counterspell there. And the tower should just die to the wards.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
So again, he's gonna be the first one to TP back mid. This time, it doesn't really matter in regards to who TP'd first. He probably just wants the creeps. He knows he's the strongest hero. He gets the wave pretty much to the river instantaneously. And you'll also notice that he's never waiting for the wave to come to him. He's always just beelining it down the lane. He's always just walking in, saying, hey, I'm killing this as fast as humanly possible. When you're a core player, every second matters. Every second in the game, every decision you make, every wave you cut, all of it makes a really big difference, especially in games where the rest of your team is weak. So a really good core player can absolutely change the tides of the game just by doing a couple of things. And if you look at this replay like we are right now, and I haven't, like personally, I didn't even see this game because it was on when I was asleep, so this is the first time I'm watching it. I watched like 8 times through just like to get an idea of what happened, and then I said, okay, this is the one I'm going to use. So I'm looking at this game for the very first time, and I'm just saying, hey, there's stuff that I could even just be missing, right? Because it's not, you know, I haven't studied it that closely. This is just an idea of what kind of a core player Ramzes is and why his play is so valuable to a team like VP. And this is just like understanding of where he wants to be and why. And just his farming patterns in general, his item progression, how he's playing around his vision and stuff. Like everything up until this point has been, it's pretty much flawless, right? Like there's maybe 1 or 2 times that I could think of off the top of my head where he might have been able to go like one more wave, or you know, maybe he sticks around for like 10 seconds longer to kill a camp or something like that. But it's so negligible in regards to what he actually did for his team that it's not really even worth talking about, because you're never going to play a 100% perfect game. But if you can consistently perform on a level like this, and you can bring your team back from the brink of just getting raxed by being in the right place at the right time on a core, that's the good stuff. That's what you want to get. Alright, so he's got his butterfly now. We're approaching the 30-minute mark. And I'm not sure if we're going to go through, like, the whole game, because at this point it seems pretty clear. You know, spoiler alert, I believe VP did end up winning this game. But this is kind of the stage where he wanted to be in the first place. When they picked Anti-Mage, they said, hey, if we ever get to this point as Anti-Mage, we've essentially won the game. So he's going to blink in. He's going to get out of the wall. He's just going to go to town here on Paparazzi, just hitting him through the Orca ulti and everything, doesn't really care. He's going to get silence and extra time. He even goes back to hit the wall illusions a little bit. Getting pretty low here, but he will live. Nice little dodge on the roll, and he gets another blink away. So even though that fight wasn't really the best for his team, and again, that's another Roshan, so we'll see how he gets his team out of this one. Or if he's able to, I guess I should say. But it's actually quite hard to play Anti-Mage into Darkseer, because the Anti-Mage illusion will just kill your team, right? It's one of the reasons why Darkseer versus AM matchup is so volatile, because during a laning phase, AM doesn't really... Like, you can pressure him a bit, but you're never really going to kill him. He's going to get his farm, and during the mid-game and the late game, the Darkseer wall is what plays into the Anti-Mage as, like, the counter, right? You hit him with the wall, make an illusion of him, either burn his mana with it, or put it on his team, and then his team just dies. So that's kind of the struggle that they're going through right now on VP, is that all the other heroes are so weak that the Anti-Mage illusion is just killing them. So again, Ramzes out in the enemy jungle, not farming his own side of the map. And at this point, it's most likely just occupied by Vici, so that's most likely for the best. And right now, he's just using his Manta illusions to push the mid lane. He realizes, hey, if I keep these two lanes pushed, and Vici are split thin, even if they have an Aegis, we don't really have to worry about it. Alright, so his next choice will be the BKB. This is to help deal with the whole getting vacuum walled into an Earth Spirit Silence thing. Because just having the Manta and everything is great. Like, he hasn't died. But it is really hard for him to stay in the actual 5 versus 5 without Magic Community. He's also getting very close to his level 25, which means if he wants, he can actually go for either talent. I'd say there's a good case for Mana Void cooldown and Counterspell Magic Resistance this game. Just because the magic resistance for obvious reasons, the Darkseer, the Earth Spirit, Arc Warden stuff, you know, Oracle. And then the Mana Void cooldown is great because they have a lot of really big mana pool heroes, and he's already got a Scotty. So, big mana pool, you can cast Mana Void a bunch of times. Making his way across the map, again, just trying to keep the creeps off of his side. Mid is pushed to the river, bottom is pushed far past the river. He's going to blink to another camp. I think he spotted the Earth Spirit there for just a second. Yep, he's going to see him just get out. So he knows the camps are going to be respawning here in a couple of seconds. And you'll notice his whole jungle was dead. All of it. The whole jungle was dead, and he kept the wave pushed at the same time. So he's using his time very, very efficiently here. It looks like he did go for the counter spell. So he's got that really, really big magic resist now. In total, he's got 79%. Pretty insane. And his BKB timing is done. All the waves are pushed out. Really good time for VP to smoke. He's got his BKB. They find the Arc Warden immediately. It's not actually hitting him, though, because of the magnetic field. Doom goes off. Ramsey's still taking a bit of damage, so he's going to be forced to blink out. But I believe Ori just dies here like 100%. Even when a team fight's going on, this guy's still finding creeps, by the way. He's got his salve. He's going to walk to the shop, so it actually goes off of cooldown after swapping out his backpack. And again, he's killing the wave. He sticks around, and he waits for Vici to continue chasing and get like whatever cleanup kills that they think they're going to get. And in the time that they're chasing, he just kills the creep wave again. He's never given Vici an opportunity to touch his barracks. After the tier 3 died, and after he did that cut in the mid lane, Vici have not successfully been able to cross the river and get to VP's base a single time. It just hasn't worked. So he's just going to make his way bot. 4 heroes dead on the side of Vici. The creeps in the mid wave are going to break the backdoor protection, so he'll be able to get this Rax for sure. Paparazzi being the only one alive, pretty difficult for Vici to actually defend this.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Alright, so easy set of Rax. And to be honest, even if VP had lost more heroes there, the situation would not have been all that different for all the stuff that we've been talking about. The creep wave just simply being dead. Ramzes carrying extra regen on himself to put himself back in a situation where he can, you know, bring himself into fight. He makes his way towards top because he realizes that's the biggest wave and it's the one he wants to kill the fastest, so, you know, everything is still past the river. So there are racks up. It's 35 minutes in. He could go for an Abyssal. He could go for an MKB. He might just get bots at this point. He's pretty farmed. He's sitting on 4,800 gold. We'll see what his choice is. He didn't quite get the full mana bar there, but I think it's fine. I haven't actually been paying that close of attention to see if he was tread switching or not. Doesn't look like he does for the Manta, at least. But with a Scotty and 8 mana regen, it's pretty hard to go out of mana. Alright, so he's tread swapping now. But again, as soon as he has information, he sees bot lane, Solo gets killed, Ramzes takes the mid wave, he immediately runs towards top. Even gets a large camp on the way. And he keeps pushing. And you look at the CS, and you look at the game time, and you say, 586 creep kills in a 36-minute game. And you just go, wow, how did he do that? How did he get so many creeps? And really, the basic premise of like this whole video is just like his positioning, the hero that he's playing, what items he's waiting for to like play aggressive, and just never freaking going back to base. Like we talked about earlier, he went back to base like 2 times. He did die once in the early game, but that was for the first bounty rune. So that really didn't make him miss much. And we didn't talk about the laning phase too much. So this has simply been just like 25 minutes of mid-game AM in a pretty good AM game. And by pretty good, I mean like pretty good. If Darkseer wasn't there and it was some other offlane hero that was like less threatening to the Anti-Mage, I'd say this would have been like the freest AM game ever. But what I think I'm going to do is just stop the recording here because we got kind of all the points we wanted to talk about, I think, in the video already. Just his positioning, his farming efficiency, always stacking camps, always being out on the enemy side of the map if he can be, never taking anything away from his team. So if you're an aspiring core player or an anti-mage player specifically or whatever, and you're playing pub games, try to adopt at least a couple of these things. And it's not going to be easy. Obviously, it's going to take you a couple of tries to get like the creep wave timings down and understand, you know, oh, I got to actually make my way towards mid because my team's going to fight, and if they fight, they die. I got to be there to make sure that I'm going to get that wave dead. Otherwise, you know, we could just lose the game. But Dota's a super complicated game, and just creep wave equilibrium and keeping the waves out against certain teams, it's really important, especially in games like this, where you know that the enemy team has very limited ways of catching you. So I'm going to stop the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to be doing a lot more commentary on the YouTube in the near future. Sorry for the hiatus. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. My name is Draskyl. You can catch me live on twitch.tv/Draskyl, Draskyl. And you can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like, at DraskylDota2. That's Dota and then TWO. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next time.